Oh boy, the poor people at CBC discussing this China tariff thing. Should I call this 1-888-416-8333? I'll try it and make a recording after. But here's what I want to say. Here's what I would say, and it leads to my question, which leads to proving to them in their response that they proved me right from what I started saying at the beginning. At the beginning, I would say, hey, we have three cultural patterns and we fall prey to them, and we also regurgitate them and push them forward as the general population and certainly as the elites, and they are hypocrisy, laissez-faire attitude, and impunity facilitation. Human rights in Canada are horrible. I have human rights complaints. They're being pushed back and they probably won't even be taken on. Okay, so we have a lot of bad ones here too. And we have data about ours here compared to, finding some to criticize others elsewhere. Now, some of the worst human rights violations going on in North America right now are in the USA, and somehow we are quite happy to trade with them. So again, you're picking up these patterns, right? What we need to do is reinvent ourselves away from dependency that are elites, that are not public serving, even though some of them are politicians, have been, creating for a long time, and now we're stuck in them, and we're afraid to move away from them because it means we have to overcome our own intellectual laziness and reinvent ourselves as individuals and as a culture. By the way, economics, which is kind of what you're discussing here, it's a form of mental illness, and it's manipulative math, and it uses flawed priorities, which is not good for the long term. Okay, so that means if you can't admit this in your discussions of economics, it's hard for me to take you seriously. Politicians work for elites, including themselves, and are not problem solving, like systems thinking, culture repairing public servants. They're not. There aren't any. If there was one, they'd die of a heart attack just trying to make something happen. The rule of law is not as good in Canada, and I'm not talking about defending your home from an invader. I'm talking about taking, let's say, elites or governments or businesses to court. It's not easy. Legal aid is useless. They seem to have developmental disorders, and they're the ones who are legal aid now. And the scams of unions, I've documented it for a long time. They are not worker-centered, and they are not culture repairers either. So we have big issues with this here, okay? And the BCGU is going to really get on my nerves, I'm sure, in the coming weeks, because it'll be easy for me to see the signs of their hypocrisies. Again, our three main cultural patterns. So my question to these two experts that are, the familiars and the social circle of CBC is, how do you not discuss our double standards, our incongruences, our cognitive dissonance, which means that the conversations they're having right now, and they would try to have with me, includes fiction as much as nonfiction. And we'd have to say, oh, prove to me this you're regurgitating. Because for me, until you prove it, it's obvious I have evidence against that and the contrary. So you're trying to include fiction and nonfiction type conversations. And then I would say, before you answer, I'm going to tell you that I will very likely disagree with 60% or more of what your responses are as experts. And because I won't be able to participate in a debate and counter argument what you say, is I'll film the response in my YouTube channel.